Hello. I'm Drew,
And I'm Graham.
and we're here today with another 1v1 from the Wargame
Mm.
Bootcamp Discord. Elite Tournament! We're on, and Nuclear Winter is coming in-game, thankfully. Who do we have playing today, Mr. Graham?
So on the left-hand side here, we have Warspite playing South African Moto Gang. And then on the right, we have 77 playing Blue 4 Marine.
A very fitting playing a Marine deck, considering just how much water there is. Probably not going to
Yes.
get much use out of it, because this is an intelligently designed map, and the bridges aren't choke points. Or
Yes, we'll see
terrible
if
choke points.
the Marines make an amphibious landing before somebody else.
Yes. Yes. We're seeing right off the bat, Raw Spider pushing pretty hard into Delta here. Gonna be, yeah, sending some Oryxes. I believe those are
Those are Buffaloes. This should be
Buffaloes,
Buffalo
yeah.
85, yeah. And we see the 77 going in pretty heavy here down into Charlie. Be curious to see if he tries to make the push into Alpha. But considering he is up against a motorized deck, I imagine he'll probably just go a little defensive to start, since typically Moto beats you everywhere else on the map.
Yeah, and South African motorized, like, yeah, is pretty nasty. And that second Oryx landing at the village, that's a
Yeah.
really good spot. And those Buffaloes 85 against Marine deck are going to be absolutely deadly, because apart from the K1, not a whole lot of heavy armor.
Yeah, it's a really good call out here for Warspite, getting them up in forward positions. The Milan F1 will be more than capable of dealing with just about everything the Marine deck can throw at it. Good unload there from 77, recognizing there's danger there, getting us saving his infantry, and we see it kind of playing out like you were talking about there, Rang. The Warspite's trying to kind of push these flanks a little bit, and we see 77 trying to get into some defensive positions with the Rover Wombat coming up too. Actually, I know
Oh,
you're a big
there we
fan of
go.
that.
Yeah, seeing up north as well, things are pretty quiet. Both sides actually investing a decent amount on the northern flanks, but really just on a defensive position, as
Mhm.
well as a Crow Tower, just to stop any sneaky helicopter plays. I feel like the big plays gonna probably happen down here in Charlie, just considering how much 77 is investing.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this is going to go out. So we're going to see the Roycat here, 76, engaging an AMX-10 RC. It's kind of like the new sexy thing versus the old reliable. We've talked about that a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
and so you get to see him do battle here. But we do see Warspite, probing up forward, getting more, he's calling out more infantry. And I imagine as the motorized player, he's going to want to try and take the early advantage here.
Yeah,
On the vigorous,
you really do need to lead that momentum. We're seeing up north here, the Roycat 105 pushing on through. Oh, the bow cups in
yeah,
RPG
Roycat
range.
76 seeing it there. Yeah, and we see him noticing it, so he's going to try and back up those Roycats right there. You don't want to lose them to the Bocop. Who does have the RPG 7.
Yep.
On a beta coming out too, trying to get a pick here on this Cobra. Oh, and it does get the kill there. So nice little pickup. And we should see if we can get some rocket shots in. But the Casper K car doing some damage.
Yep. You've seen two F-100Ds being brought in. Very odd airplane. Trying to get some rocket strikes.
Ooh.
Oh, kills 105. That's...
Yeah, he does get
Wow.
one. That's a nice hit. I think maybe the Bocop was able to get a shot in with the RPG, and I just we didn't notice it, or he got a really good rocket spread on that F-100 there. But either way, a Roycat 105 does go down.
Yeah, it's weird to see rocket strikes actually perform effectively in Wargame.
Yeah, we see the beta here too, actually, still trying to get some shots. Oh, but the Crotale coming up, getting the pick there. So Helo support is gone here for Warspite. He's got to rely on these Roycats to give himself some extra firepower here on the front.
Yeah, but pretty contained play from both sides. We're seeing that 105 push try to make a play, but alas, it's not going to happen. Warspite's definitely in a bit more of an advantageous position map control-wise, as he
Right.
has Delta pretty much under control, and we are seeing that 100D coming again for round 2.
Yeah, it does look like he has a firm grip on Delta, so it's going to be curious to see what does 77 do to kind of break the mold here. Is he going to try and push Alpha, which is what I would prefer to see, versus grinding it out in the 1-point sector, or maybe he gets a little aggressive and tries to Foxtrot or something. But Warspite is taking that early map control.
Yep. But it's also it's gonna be a hard taking Charlie, because 77 is pretty dug in rail there. Yeah, I think it's gonna maybe have to come down to, I don't know, India Foxtrot is definitely the best play, I think, for both sides, as it is a
Yeah,
lot less built up and a lot of room
it,
to maneuver.
Yeah, because and neither side is necessarily very heavy, right, in terms of like organic firepower, being marine and then motorized. So you would look to see them to push the flanks. Both of them would want to push the flanks, especially the motorized player. So I totally agree with you. I think India Foxtrot, if either one of them wants to really try and take an early advantage, makes the most sense to me.
I've pretty much seen more skirmishing down to the Bocops do go down, but Rawspite playing it extremely cautiously here, not wanting to risk the Roy catch, and understandable because they are rather lightly skinned, especially against ATGMs.
Yeah, I'm on F1 actually there from 77 getting a kill on the Roycat 105 there. Oh, we see he actually brought up the ZA, which is a pretty impressive AA piece there the South Africans get, though it does miss that F100B. So I don't think 77 noticed that the missile came out.
Yeah, he's still flying around, and that thing does not have a good ECM rating, 0 to be in fact. So he probably will not last long.
Oh, but he gets another. Oh. He gets a kill there on the Buffalo. He does take one shot, and it goes down. So he loses the plane, but the Buffalo 85 does die. And the SASF 90 are actually in trouble here.
Yeah, those Bocups. Oh, there's a little bit of fire support here from me and Flake, so I think the SAS will be able to hold out. We're seeing CV plays, which will Ron get brought up into Foxtrot, 77 bringing Ron into India. Oh, we also saw, Ron and Charlie as well, so that's going to give 77 an advantage.
With Cheetah D actually coming there, we see the fire position from it. Very interesting feature that the South Africans get with the HE missile there for it. And he is actually able to finish off the Bocops there.
Not a bad play at all. But yeah, definitely Warspite has been contained in Delta, not being able to really flex his legs through, But at the same time, 77 is still pretty contained in Charlie, neither side wanting to make any major risky maneuvers.
Yeah, and we do see actually Warspite playing with fire here. He knows there's an F1 there. The 76 Warcat, okay, it does actually barely making it into the forest line there, dodging the ATGMs. But yeah, it seems like 77, I don't know, Rang, it feels like he's kind of allowing his opponent to dictate the pacing here a little bit. And you don't want to get cornered, I think, against the motorized player and allow him to just kind of run around all over the map and pin you into one sector.
Yeah, especially on a map like this where it is so open and does allow for, very, fast and fluid mobile play. I think 7 just needs to get his forces and really commit to a push. Also, just looking down south in Alpha, that'd really be his best bet. Of course, we have God Vision, so we know there's not a whole lot, But you need to just, it's like a feeling when you, play Wargame or Steel Division of just having to guess where the front line is, where the enemy are, and
or Warno.
Or Warno, yeah. Yeah, you could play Warno as well, I guess. It's a very well-balanced game from what I've heard.
Yeah, we see some more shots coming in for the Cheetah D there. He is playing a little bit of fire, though. He does know there's Kurtals in the area, so you got to be a little careful. You don't want to use a Cheetah D just because you were lobbing some HE missiles into a forest line. But yeah, I totally agree with you about 77. I do think, and he does have K1s, which, especially against even South Africa motorized, is a heavy piece of equipment. And so I'd like to see him get some K1s, get a mortar out, and maybe get a little aggressive down here, like you said, towards Alpha, where we have the God Vision. But he should know, based upon the feel of the game, that there's a significant amount of forces in Delta, which means he probably isn't too much in front of him in Alpha at the current time mark.
Indeed, and that is what makes Blue Full Marine a very interesting deck, because it is a kind of a weird mix between mech and moto. As a lot of your guys are still motorized in the end of the day, it's kind of a half-assed moto, but just the ability to have a few somewhat heavy tanks, even though mid-range heavy tanks, makes a big deal. Especially, like you said, against motorized South Africa at K1. May as well not be a TA to you, but, it's still a pretty piece of kit.
No, it is, especially against motorized. And we see there actually Royal Marines moving up and getting a kill on some SASF 90 in a forest line. See the Bocops here with the K-car support, which is a really nice addition, I think, in 77's deck. Those Casper K-cars with the 20 mils could be super annoying, and they're picking off some infantry there. But we do see the mortar plate now coming out from Warspite, and he's using the Ratel 60, actually.
Yeah, interesting choice, because there's the transport.
It's for the CV, I believe.
Yeah, it's the CV transport. As I see here, that's not a bad CV transport option, because you don't just have to suicide it. You can use it as a really cheap and somewhat, I could say, an effective mortar, but it's good for 20 points considering you have a 20-point smoking unit.
Yeah, for 20 points, it's not bad. I personally don't use them a ton. I do like playing South African Moto a lot, even in 1v1s as well. That's my favorite deck to play. But it is an interesting choice. Like you said, it's definitely not bad. And for 20 points, there's definitely worse transports out there for your CV for 20 points.
Yeah. But it just
You see,
seemed very just contained play. I was expecting, fast mobile actions, but both sides are just... Well, okay, both sides. It's really 77 which is getting cornered here.
yeah, it's curious to see now, like, how's Warspite going to play it? Is he just going to sit back and stay defensive because he does have the territory and advantage? He's going to be able to cap Delta here soon, as we can see with the Ratel 60 coming out again. Or is he going to try and get aggressive and go for like a killing blow against 77? I don't know yet. It's really too early to tell. But I don't like that 77 is allowing Warspite to dig in because as a Marine deck, you really don't have that much more firepower than the motorized deck currently. So the longer you let the game go on, I think you kind of lose that heavier pushing power that you could have.
Yup. But even then, 77 can still reasonably get a CV into Delta. It's not an ideal location, but he can still somewhat contest it. But I just feel like in terms of momentum, it is still definitely in Warspite's favour. We've seen the governments being put on through, we've seen fire support being dropped immediately, but there's a lot of elite South Africans in there, some with grenade launchers.
Yeah, and he's going right in there to the pair Pathfinders, right? Like you said, the Y2 there just going to absolutely shred those government up close and personal. Pair Pathfinders are really deadly inside in town fights. And you can see they've only lost 1 HP, and they've decimated the government.
Yeah.
We do see a Prowler up. So that's 3 planes already out for 77. He's looking for that Roy Cat, but Warspite has actually turned off his AA. So he is microing his radars, which is nice to see.
Yep, and I guess he's bringing that Prowler out just to deter anti-air from shooting down the F-100D. That amount of fire support was pretty sufficient to keep us government alive for the time being. We're seeing the mortars try and finish off the SASF. I don't think the government will survive, but not a terrible engagement, considering.
No, but the government are going to die there. And so we do see the SF-90 getting the SF-90, excuse me, the pair of Pathfinders. They should be able to clean up the kill here. But actually, I want to point your attention to Hotel really quick, Rain, because the Rhino has been called out, but not for the South Africans.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a change in teams. Yes. This would be interesting to see, because most of the times when we see people bringing heavy SPG pieces, it never pays off. It's just getting a bit more of a entrenched battle between both sides, so this could actually be somewhat efficient.
Yeah, I think it's all just going to depend on how it plays out. I mean, which, I think that sounds self-explanatory. But like you said, most of the time when players in these 1v1s go for the really heavy self-propelled artillery pieces, they almost never pay themselves off, and rarely do they even get, like, the stun damage you want the value out of them. They typically end up being really expensive and look really pretty, but don't do much. So I'm curious to see if he's actually going to get real value out of it. Whereas down south, which we could see the Rhino can maybe get some shots in here. Oh, but no, the Panther making quick work on that infantry.
Oh yeah, like all the way down south. That's a pretty interesting play to push. I mean, it's not a vital area, but it can be very useful to capture this forest, as it gives you a good, slow pathway to potentially attack Alpha or Charlie.
Yeah, it is an interesting push, and I think it's just showing you there that both players are trying to avoid the frontal assault, and so they're pushing each other's flanks. In which case, I do think, like, once again, like you said earlier, Rang, the push up north from India to Foxtrot makes more sense because both sides are continuing to just build up units in this, in this frontal area here, and neither decks, I think, are really built for that type of fight.
Oh, I'm seeing both really invest in quite a bit of artillery now. We got the Ratel. One Tourney's being brought in. The Rhino's actually starting to fire off some shots now, it seems. Trying to get that Milan team. There we go.
Yeah, direct hit right there. And that's one reason why the Rhino is such a good piece. And actually 77 is microing him all over the place back there after his shots. Though with our God Vision, we know there really is nothing to counter him. He can say exactly where he's at and be good to go. But Hey, he's being proactive.
Yeah, it seems like 77 is starting to gain a little bit of momentum now as he's starting to trade somewhat efficiently. He has a decent amount of light armor down south, but Warspite really doesn't have much armor either. It's really just those two Roycat 76s.
Yeah, and we see the AMX 10 RC here, getting some damage in along with the VAB and the Casper K car. So these the reserve infantry there for Warspite getting gunned down right there in the open. It's brutal. Please avert your eyes. But it does look like Warspite might be preparing for a push from Delta, maybe trying to flank down. I'm not quite sure what the goal, where like maybe the end goal of that push is, but he's building up a ton of troops.
That's a lot of guys in that area. We're seeing the planes come in once again. F-100D cancelling its attack run, but we're also seeing 2 K1s being brought in here from 77, so both sides are definitely escalating this battle quite a bit now.
Yeah, and we actually can see here now kind of how this push is going to play out thanks to the smoking here. It looks like Warspite's going to try and go in and completely clear out Delta and ruin any chance, I think, for 77 to put a CV in there. And actually, we see the Oliphant tank CV making a move right as this push is kind of going in here, though it's just the one Casper K car, so it's not much of a push.
Nope.
It's the one special forces squad. We'll see if we can get the job done. Oh, and Cheetah C actually not picking up. Only fired one missile. I don't know. He only fired one missile. I'm not sure.
In the SASF, move into the Delta Forest here. Going to be able to clear out the bow corps and probably most of the forces. The AMX-10 and Crow Tower want to have nothing to do with that situation.
Yeah, they're evacuating the dance floor right there. We do see the Atlanta 90 and the Casper K car moving. Oh, but the 90 going down right there to the side shots from the K car. But then the Warspite's K car finishing up the bow cops. Funny watching K cars duke it out right there.
It's kind of confusing when you talk about South African unit from the Marine side. It's like, great, which side is getting blapped?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to make sure you call out the player's name there. We do see the F-100 coming in, getting some good damage in. Oh, killing the recon vehicle, but the Parabat's only losing 1 HP. So, not necessarily a great hit. Oh no, it lives. I thought for a second it died. As you see.
Cheetah coming in a little bit too late, and the Prowler once again being brought in, trying to catch any Raider. Well, let's say that Roycat off, but the Roycat doesn't really have any ammo to shoot.
No, and he is off too, so he's double safe right there. Though the Cheetah DD actually coming in behind this Prowler, he's going to be able to get some missile shots in. Oh, but both actually miss. Oh, and the Cheetah DD taking a shot there from the Grotal, and it goes down.
Oh, wow. Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Nice little pick off there. Got a little too aggressive with it. Gotta remember, it's not a fighter. it only has 2 IR, A missiles. Yep. So really isn't kind of meant to go shooting down another seaplane with high ETM.
And it seems like 77's push through from Charlie into Alpha has definitely stalled quite a bit. It is a harder area to push right through the middle, as there's a lot of open ground, and even just a few F-Run Milan teams can cause a bit of havoc. Really, you want to be pushing along the southern side of Charlie, into the forest in between, and then into Alpha.
Yeah, and we see here there's more. So 77 is bringing up 8 more. Looks like I'm assuming those are bow cops. I don't know. Maybe this reserve infantry, but he's bringing up a lot more infantry. We see the K1s. Actually, where'd the K1s go? Oh, there they are. Yeah, they're chilling there in Charlie. So I'm guessing he's going to try and get this push back on track here. But I'm not sure how successful it'll really be. There's a ton of Roycats in the back line here for Warspite.
Yeah, the only Roycat 76s show, so those K1s, if engaged or used effectively, can pretty easily knock him out. It seems like both sides are focusing a little bit more on the far southern flank here. 77 definitely invested quite a lot. We're seeing the Power Pathfinders being brought in, as well as those Roycats being deployed to try and deal with these blokes.
Yeah, we see the Milan F1 actually opening up here. We see a missile out. Let's see if he actually gets a hit. Yep, takes out one Roycat 76. The other 2 are going to go and back up there. So nice little pick there for the Milan team from 77. Yeah, we see another one going on. That one's going to miss there. But these Para Pathfinders are pushing up. They're on the hunt here, looking for the Royal Marines. But they need to be careful, because if they run into the Babs there, they're not going to be able to deal with them.
Is he just going to blap the supply truck? I mean, smart move. wouldn't really have the opportunity to capture it, denying the enemy logistics. Yeah, and Milan team does go down to the Ron Trenties.
Yeah, we see the pair of Pathfinders there hunting down logistics. And so we do see this Roycat 76 actually did back up, and the SSF 9, SSF 9. Oh, it's 9 actually. Excuse me, it's the regular one. I thought it was the 90. It was like, where's the 0? But no.
No.
So more AA coming up for Warspite here. He has a bunch of mortars out, 360s plus his 2 120s. So I'm guessing he's going to try and push in and take the town there from the government.
Yeah, that'd probably be his best bet. We still see 77 has really amassed a huge force here into Charlie. I mean, you've got the 4 Rombats, the 8k cards full of Bocops, the 2k one still there. Just someone needs to send it, goddammit.
Yeah, they're both kind of like toying with each other here right now. It's and neither of them seems to want to commit. It's like 2 high schoolers out on a date. So we're just waiting for one of them to make the first real move here.
But Rawspite is doing well for himself because he is getting that +1 point advantage. Yeah. So he can afford to buy time. He can afford to be socially awkward on this date.
Yeah, he definitely can. Whereas 77 really needs to go in for the winning move here. Because it is, we are past the halfway mark here. He's still got 2 more K1s. He's built up a ton of units here in Charlie. At this point, I think he probably could just attack moves a lot of these dudes forwards. Especially the K1s. I don't even know what would kill the K1s in front of it.
Nothing.
The Roycat 76s couldn't stop it. There's no Milan teams down here. So, yeah, honestly, he could just send those K1s forward and they might just push right into Alpha.
Yeah, the Fog of Roar is definitely safe and Rawspite quite a bit here. Because this force really could have been committed much sooner. But I think 77 is just very concerned about what could be on the other end. But he doesn't really know.
Yeah, I switched 77's view real quick just to kind of see what he can see. And it's not a lot.
Oh, wow.
So, by not a lot, I mean he sees a Rattel 20 and the 2K cars by the government. So, he has no idea what's in front of him at all until these pair of Pathfinders popped up right there. So, I just wanted to see that, and it kind of gives a really good idea, especially talking to the viewers, that he has, without effective reconnaissance, you really are pushing blind, and that's exactly what he's doing. And he's actually letting these Rover Wombats engage instead of bringing these K1s. Yeah, I really don't like how this push is already starting out for him here.
Yeah.
These K1s need to be up front and forward here, or at least close enough in line so they can deal some damage. But he's being very protective of them.
Yeah, it's kind of using all these cheap vehicles as kind of a screening unit, so to speak, just to soak up the fire. But you can't let him soak up too much fire, otherwise you don't really have much of a push left.
Right, and we see here Royal Marines getting up close and personal with a pair of Pathfinders. They should be able to get the kill here. Yeah, they actually wipe him out to a man there. No prisoners. And we see the Roycat 76s trying to move in here and get some damage on the Rover Wombats. Oh, the Rover Wombat actually getting a shot in on that 76. So the push is going in here. We asked for some action. He's committing. He's making his move. He's leaning in. We'll see if it actually gets anywhere.
Indeed, and it could actually get somewhere. He's fast moving some infantry transports. If he can get them into the forest valve, that'd be pretty good. But we got 2 Roycat 105s here now, so they aren't getting blapped by the Rover Rombats, taking a bit of damage. Yeah,
they did take some damage there. And the K1s, I really think the K1s need to get more involved here. We see him targeting. Is that what's it shooting at? Shooting the Burger Mag. No, he needs to stop that. They need to get moving forward here and support his push here. Yeah, forget the Burger Mags. They're not important. The other 2 K1s I've pushed up as well. But there's a little ambush here by Warspite. If he can keep these Roycat, no, he's going to actually expose them. Never mind.
Yeah, and we're just seeing it's a very effective push here from 77. Just a huge heap of stuff. Not super crazy effective stuff, but cheap and more than enough to deal with this defensive position, so to speak. Just,
no, absolutely. And there we go. We see the K1 absolutely annihilates that Road Roycat 76. He's not going back home. These Royal Marines are pushing up as well, forcing back the other 76s. Oh, is he going to get the... Yeah, so the Law 80 actually able to go in there and get a shot. It's like an in-law out there, just popping vehicles. Yep, another one going down.
Really bringing down the Law.
Yes, absolutely. And so this push has actually really worked out for him. He's definitely sustained some casualties from it, but he's annihilated most of the light armor down here for Warspite and killed a lot of infantry. So if he can get into Alpha here, And honestly, Rank, he should take that Oliphant CV he has just chilling, basically guarding his flank, and move it up here and decap Alpha soon.
Yeah, he really needs to get a CV up over here. It definitely is possible if he does fully capture Alpha. I think he'd be getting a +3 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's definitely a durable point tick. But he needs to kind of do that now because time is not on his side.
No, he needs to get moving, and he's not doing that in terms of at least the Oliphant. And so now I think if you're Warspite, I'm not sure if he can really stop the push. To be honest with you, it's gonna motorized decks just really don't excel at that feature. That's just not what they're good at. He's honestly, I think if I was Warspite, I'd push somewhere across the map. I go push India or something instead, and just buy time and alpha because killing the K1s, we see Vabs coming up. There's gonna be some hard hitting infantry here. I mean, 4K1s already is gonna be hard for him to deal with. But we do see the SF 90 moving into the force. Oh, but those are Rimas. Yeah, that's why I was wondering what was in those Vabs there. Couldn't see it on my on the deck there. So yeah, a lot of firepower actually coming out right now for 77 ring.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to clear for Alpha. Yeah, really here for Warspite. Just kind of, slap some infantry in the town just to buy him some time. And yeah, just try to relocate up into India. Cause a bit of havoc here. Neutralize it even just for a few minutes. And that would be enough to, seal the deal.
Yeah, oh, I actually see these 77's mortars are out of supply here. And he's just charging them forward. I didn't know we were in Ukraine. And so I really think he really needs to bring up some supplies, but I don't think that's going to happen. At least they didn't abandon the vehicle.
Yeah, it's a very poor logistics situation. Hey, they got a Brown and machine gun, so they can provide just an adequate amount of fire support.
Yeah, the Rema 85 here get absolutely annihilated by the pair of Pathfinders. And that's just a couple small things there from 77, though. He should have brought those K1s up immediately to support the Rema 85 because the pair of Pathfinders have no ability to deal with them.
Oh.
Yeah, there's going to be a run right over there, just doing 1 HP completely. But the breakthrough is kind of the south. The mortar leading the charge here down south from Alpha. What a mad lad. Though there is a beta coming in here to try and clean up this push. And there's actually, the Grotals are way far in the rear for 77. So he actually needs to be careful here. The beta could get up close and actually start doing some damage to these K1s.
Yeah, beta has a complete free reign to just blow up every single armored vehicle here.
Yeah, and something killed the K1 over here. Really low on HE. Actually, one killed it. The pair of Pathfinder didn't kill it. Something else killed that K1 and brought it down to no HE, or to 1 HP.
Maybe I got a critical hit because he's really low on ammo.
Maybe. That'd be a crazy kill.
That's
where I wish.
Yeah.
That's why I wish with Wargame you could see the kill list like you can in Steel Division. Curious to see who did it.
Oh, the K1s are getting blapped.
Yeah, so 3 of the 4 are now dead. And what looked like a massively successful push here from 77 has been, I think it's done.
Definitely seems so. He's got that 1K run, which is pretty much combat ineffective. The infantry's gone. Warspite is counter-attacking into Alpha. And that was really 77's best bet of actually making something happen, and it's gone like that.
Yeah, it really feels like our boy Warspite got to the door and then went in for the first kiss and got rejected there. And now it's kind of just falling apart here. Doesn't know he knows what to do anymore. That K1. K1's still fighting the forest. It's almost out of all its ammo. It still has 14 rounds for the gun, but the Browning and the M240 almost completely out of ammo.
Yeah, it's really going to have to make every single bullet count. We're seeing the Cheetah C to try to keep some air superiority. And, yeah, it's a real shame for 77. It was looking quite well for him, but... Oh, yeah. I'd say he's going to lose the K1 here in a second, but the Buffaloes are getting pinned down.
Yeah, but he has the Roydcats there, too. A big thing, too, I want to point out is that 77, we talked about, will he get value out of the G5? And he's just now moving it to resupply. And he's, he's been constantly moving it so they can't get counter-batteried. But there's no counter battery whatsoever available. There's none been bought because there's none to be bought. So it's not shooting there for a while. Really not giving it a ton of value out of it, I don't think.
Definitely having a lot of logistical issues from keeping the anti-aircraft guns. Because if he had that Crotel towards the front line, the
Right.
beta pretty much wouldn't have blown up his entire push on this far southern flank.
Yeah, it also feels like he got too aggressive there for a moment and overextended himself, and the response there by Warspite was really able to contain the push because it looked like he was going to roll over that position, but it kind of got split up into a couple different directions, and the motorized troops were able to get in there and kind of plug the hole. And I mean, there are still some more K1s pushed up here, so he does have, was that 3 more? He's got 3 of them still, one with 1 HP though. But with the time ring, I'm not sure if he's going to be able. I don't think he'd be able to win the game.
Oh, it's just really too late at this point for him, unfortunately. Still has remnant of an aggressive spirit in him, as he is still trying to move up infantry into Alpha, but oh, the Inflict's getting some decent hits from the town position.
And you can see the massive range within the Inflict. Honestly, you probably should just try to keep him in the transport because it is HE. Instead, the Inflict's going to be able to launch their HE rounds right there into the side of the government. Already getting some damage in there. And then the Oliphant CV is actually almost out of gas. It's down to 9. I don't even know if it can make it into Alpha.
There's supply trucks right here.
That's
Come
true.
on.
The logistics are coming up.
Finally, some logi.
Yeah, it shows you how valuable the logistics boys are.
Mm-hmm. MVPs.
MVPs. We do see the F-100D coming in here, getting killed in the inflict, but I think the damage is already done there, causing the infantry to dismount, getting some damage in. But he will get back into the town here. I think the problem is just time. It's about 20 minutes too late for this push to be successful, right?
Yeah, especially having to catch up to 350 odd points. Yeah, it's a big ask with only 8 minutes left in the match. You need like a +3, +4 really.
Yeah, I think you
even have a chance.
Right? Yeah, so he'd need a CV pick, and a big thing I think that's going on here is just the India Foxtrot area being completely left alone. I really feel like that might have been a better direction, especially once he was kind of boxed in down here in the south. Like shift the focus of the combat somewhere else. But these K1s are still, he still got some K1s. He still has some government. So he's got a lot of fight left in him still. But I just don't know if there's enough time left in the clock.
Yep, and as we can see, the Marine deck does do pretty good head-on against a Moto deck, just because those K1s and a bit of more substantial, like, head-on firepower available. But
Right.
he just didn't manage to really use it to its full efficiency.
Yeah, we see the Parabats here actually engaging the government, and all those mortars now opening up. Oh, the F-100 goes down to the Roycat AA in the back line there. Nice little pick off there, and the Cheetah C. Something that's really interesting, Ranking, we haven't talked about, is that the Marine deck kind of has lost air superiority with the 2 Tomcats that he has available to him to the South Africans.
Yeah, we haven't even seen any of his Tomcats being brought up. And I kind of get it, because they are somewhat expensive to bring. I mean, they're more expensive than the Rhino. And you really do, I'd say you really need both Tomcats flying about to really set up good air superiority.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. We do see here that looks like he's brought out a Cobra, to try and see if we can get some damage done here. But I think the momentum here even feels like it's back with Warspite. A bunch of infantry coming in. He's gonna have some reserves. He can pair it with his Parabat shock troops. And the Parabat's actually really close here to the Oliphant CV. The K-Cars got to come up and maybe see if they can get some hits in here.
I'm just seeing it's getting grindy into Alpha, but Warspite can afford to just throw infantry into the town. He's playing motorized. He's got infantry for days, taking heavy casualties, especially if the Cobra being brought in, but doesn't really matter at this point. I think he can literally just walk away from the computer and still win.
Yeah, and the Roycat actually taking out the Cobra there here. The Parabats, they're walking right through the fire and the flames. They don't care. Rolling right up here. Shots out. Down goes 1 K1. He's going to continue this push here. They're going to roll right up here on the Oliphant CV. Shots out. Yep, there goes the CV, and there goes any chances of 77 available to pull out a win here.
Yeah. Yeah,
there it goes.
His game. GG, Warspite getting the victory. Very close in KD there, only a 200 or so difference.
Yeah, it is really close in terms of the KD there. And I think that just shows you, Rang, that the push was the right idea in terms of, like, use the heavier armor to kind of support with your light vehicles, because it's going to be very difficult for the South African motorized to deal with even K1s. But when it occurs at like the 18, 17 minute mark, and you've had that much of a tick the way Warspite did, it's just, you have no room for error at that point in the game.
Yep, and just like you said, really overextended. Like at far southern push, he didn't need to push out of Alpha from the far southern forest area in Alpha. I
Right.
think he got a bit cocky trying to move up into Bravo. He just consolidate that forest, get some defenses in there, then move up north to clear out the northern part of Alpha, bring up at Oliphant sooner, neutralize the point, and then you can start getting that lovely tick bleed. But he kind of squandered that opportunity, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. But I will say I'm a little biased. I like to see the South African Moto get the W there. It's a fun deck. It's one of my favorites. Best Eugen DLC since probably 2016.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, it's. I mean, we spoke about it like months before, but
We did, yeah.
they did a really good job with the South Africa DLC. It's not overpowered. It has some really fun units.
Right.
It's very high skill and a very different gameplay compared to any of the other Wargame decks. Like,
yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It honestly is. It is a ton of fun.
Like,
I really do enjoy it.
Like between that and the Italy DLC for ST2, like Eugene can make good DLC guys, which isn't just like DLC power creep.
Now I'm just, we'll see if they can make a good war now.
Yes. We're seeing a few months from now.
War, yes.
Oh, yes. But any final thoughts here, Mr. Graham?
No, a lot of fun. Look forward to next week. Everyone stay safe out there.
Indeed. And as usual, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And as usual, please just take it easy.